Veteran waitress insulted for her scar, and an unexpected ending followed. A harsh voice cut through the busy diner. "I wouldn't let someone like you wait tables." The words rang out over the chatter of the lunch crowd. The waitress stopped in her tracks. Every head turned toward her, staring at the long scar across her face. No one spoke up for her. No one said a thing. But then a young boy in a crisp military school uniform stood up. His face was serious, his hands balled into fists at his sides. "If you think she was treated unfairly, type unfair below." Lisa Harper had spent 15 years mastering the art of carrying 5 plates at once. At 45, she worked smoothly at Millie's diner, despite a sore left knee. The knee was a keepsake from her time in the army, just like the scar that stretched from her right ear to her jaw. Before she served plates of hearty pot roast and endless coffee, Lisa had saved lives as a medic in Afghanistan from 2006 to 2010. After a medical discharge, she traded battlefields for a quiet life feeding folks in a small southern town. Her scar was 16 years old, born from the day a roadside bomb exploded near her medical convoy. Shrapnel had grazed her face, missing her eye by inches. 3 surgeries later, the scar stayed, a jagged line that tugged at her lip, giving her a faint, constant half-smile. "Order up for table 6, called Tony from the kitchen. He pushed 2 plates of crispy fried chicken across the counter. Lisa grabbed them with ease. "Thanks, Tony. Smells great today. It's all in the spices," he said with a grin, never glancing at her scar. To the staff at Millie's, Lisa was just Lisa, steady, kind, and able to soothe even the grumpiest customers with her calm way. The lunch rush was in full swing. The diner buzzed with regulars and travelers passing through. Most days had a familiar flow: take orders, serve food, refill drinks, clear tables, repeat. Lisa liked the routine. It was a peaceful change from the chaos of war. She was carrying a tray of burgers to a family when the door's bell jingled. A group of 5 sharply dressed strangers walked in, 3 men, 2 women, all in fancy city clothes. They laughed loudly and took the big booth by the window. Probably city folks heading to the mountains, Lisa thought. Tina, the young hostess, gave them menus and came back to the counter. The man in the gray jacket asked for our prettiest server. She whispered to Lisa. I didn't know what to say. Lisa patted her arm. "You did fine, Tina. I'll handle them." "Are you sure?" "Jenny could. It's my section," Lisa said calmly. After dodging bullets, rude customers barely fazed her. She walked to the booth with her usual greeting. "Welcome to Millie's. I'm Lisa, and I'll be your server today. Can I get you some drinks?" The man in the gray jacket looked up from his menu. His smile faded when he saw her face. His eyes traced her scar, his disgust plain as day. "Wow," he muttered, loud enough for his group to hear. One of the women stifled a laugh. Lisa kept her cool. "Today's special is a roast beef sandwich with mashed potatoes." "What happened to your face?" Gray jacket cut in, pointing at her scar. "Was it a fire or something?" Lisa's cheeks warmed, but her voice stayed even. "I'll give you a moment to look at the menu." She started to walk away, hoping to move on. "Hey, I asked you something," Gray jacket called after her. Lisa paused, turning back with patience she'd practiced for years. "Can I help you with the menu, sir?" The man leaned back, speaking to his friends but loud enough for all to hear. "If it were up to me, I wouldn't let someone like you wait tables. It kind of kills the vibe. You know?" The diner went quiet. Forks stopped clinking. Conversations died. Every eye was on Lisa. Her scar suddenly the center of attention. One of the man's friends, a woman with a sleek bob, laughed too sharply. "Tom, you can't just say that." "What? I'm just being real. Diners are about the experience. Would you put a scratch on a painting?" He waved at Lisa like she was a thing, not a person standing 3 feet away. Lisa felt a familiar ache in her chest. The same one she'd felt when she first saw her scarred face in a hospital mirror. Her hands gripped her notepad, knuckles pale. No one spoke for her. A couple at a nearby table stared at their food. A farmer at the counter shifted but kept his head down. The silence stung worse than the man's words. "I'll send another server," Lisa said softly, turning away with all the grace she could manage. "Good call," Gray jacket shouted. "Maybe someone whose face doesn't scare the food away." His friend's laughter chased Lisa as she walked to the back, her steps steady, hiding the hurt burning inside. In a booth near the back, a woman in her 40s Saturday with her teenage son. Unlike the others, they weren't pretending not to see. The boy, tall and thin in a neat military school uniform, watched it all with narrowed eyes and a tight jaw. If you believe honor comes from actions, not looks, keep reading. In the kitchen, Lisa lined up water glasses on a tray. She focused on the task to calm her shaking hands. She'd learned this trick in the army. Find something simple to ground you. The weight of the glasses, the cold water against her fingers, the even spacing. Mike, the diner's owner, appeared beside her, his lined face full of worry. I heard what happened, he said. Want me to kick them out? Lisa shook her head. They're customers. Not if they're rude to my staff. It's nothing new, Lisa said, eyes on the glasses. They'll tip big to feel better and leave. No need for a fuss. Mike didn't look convinced. Lisa, you don't have to. Please, she cut in. I just need a minute. He nodded and went back out, telling Jenny to take over the booth. Through the kitchen window, Lisa saw Gray Jacket and his friends laughing, glancing toward her. She wondered what it was like to hurt people so easily. Without a second thought, in her head, she repeated her old mantra. I don't need their approval. I just need to do my job well. Tony slid a plate across the counter. Grilled cheese for table 4. His eyes asked if she was okay without saying it. He'd seen this kind of thing before. Lisa gave a small smile. I'm fine. That guy's a jerk, Tony muttered, turning back to the stove. My brother came back from Iraq with burns on his neck. Bravest guy the first no. Lisa took the grilled cheese to table 4. It was for a regular named Carl, who never mentioned her scar but always left kind notes with his tip. Today, his simple, thanks, ma'am, meant a lot. Outside the diner's windows, life went on. Cars rolled down Broad Street. People browsed shop windows. A dog sat outside the bakery. It was the normal world soldiers fought for. A world where people like Gray Jacket could say cruel things without knowing the cost of their freedom. From the coffee station, Lisa could see the teenage boy in the military uniform. He sat straight, his food untouched, watching both Gray Jacket's table and Lisa. His look wasn't curious or pitying like most. It held focus and something like respect. He was maybe 15, with short brown hair and the lanky build of a kid still growing. His uniform was perfect, every button in place, every crease sharp. A patch on his sleeve showed he was from Oakwood Military School, a respected academy 25 miles away. Gray Jacket's voice rose again as Jenny brought their food. Now this is better. A server whose face isn't a horror show. His friends laughed. A man in a suit nearby almost said something but checked his phone and stayed quiet. A woman with a notebook frowned but didn't look up. The silence in the diner felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. I bet she got that scar doing something dumb. Gray Jacket went on, loud enough for all to hear. Choices have consequences, right? The boy's grip tightened on his fork. His mother touched his arm, whispering something. He shook his head, not listening. Lisa kept working, pouring coffee and clearing plates like a machine. When she reached the boys' table to refill their water, he spoke up. Excuse me, ma'am, he said, his voice polite but firm, like he'd been trained. Can I ask you something? His mother looked embarrassed. Lucas, we talked about this. Lisa braced herself but nodded. Sure, my teacher said scars tell stories. What's yours? The question surprised her, not because he asked, but because he asked with respect. There was no nosiness, just honest curiosity. Afghanistan, 2008. She said. Medic. Bomb went off during a rescue. The boy, Lucas, nodded seriously. Thank you for your service. Ma'am. His mother's face softened, a mix of relief and pride. I'm sorry if that was too forward. She said. He wants to go to Annapolis after he graduates. It's okay, Lisa said, meaning it. It's nice to be asked instead of stared at. As she walked away, Gray Jacket's voice boomed again. Hey, kid, taking notes on what happens when you play soldier. Stick to video games, they don't mess up your face. Lucas's shoulders stiffened, his jaw locked. His mother whispered something, but Lucas's eyes stayed on Gray Jacket. His face set with determination. Courage doesn't always come in army boots. Sometimes it comes in a cadet's uniform. If you think standing up to cruelty matters, Type, yes, below. A chair scraped loudly across the floor. Everyone turned to see Lucas Bennett standing tall. His slim frame seemed to fill the room. The buttons on his Oakwood military school uniform gleamed as he stood straight. Lucas, his mother whispered sharply. Sit down. But Lucas was already walking toward Gray Jacket's table. His steps steady. Gray Jacket saw him coming and grinned, nudging his friends. Look at this. Little heroes coming to save the day. He said loudly. What's up, kid? Lucas stopped by their booth, standing as if on a parade field. At 15, he was still a bit awkward, but his eyes were steady, locked on Gray Jacket. I'm training to be a soldier, he said, his voice clear and loud enough for the whole diner to hear. And if I'm ever hurt, I hope I can carry it like she does. He nodded toward Lisa, who stood still by the coffee station, her head high. Gray Jacket's grin faded. His friends squirmed, suddenly focused on their plates. Look, kid, Gray Jacket started, but Lucas kept going. That scar shows honor, he said, each word firm. You only have words. A quiet murmur spread through the diner. An older man in an army veteran cap nodded. The farmer at the counter sat taller, like a weight had lifted. Gray Jacket's face turned red. You don't know what you're talking about. This is grown-up stuff. Go play soldier. I know exactly what I'm talking about, Lucas said, not flinching. My uncle came back from Iraq with no leg. People stared at him, too. People who never risked anything. Gray Jacket looked around for support but found none. His friends avoided his eyes. One woman slid a bit away from him in the booth. Whatever, Gray Jacket mumbled, his loud confidence gone. It was just a joke. People are so touchy. Jokes are funny, Lucas said calmly. Cruelty isn't. Lisa stepped forward, drawn by the boy's courage. A reminder of soldiers who stood firm when it counted. Her eyes stung, but not from shame this time. He's right, said a deep voice from the counter. The farmer turned to face the room. My son was in Syria. Came back with burns. Still the strongest man I know. Damn right, said the army veteran, lifting his coffee cup to Lisa. One by one, others spoke up, not loud, not making a scene, but filling the silence with truth. I was at a VA hospital for a year, said a woman by the door. The courage I saw there? That scar's a medal. Gray Jacket sank in his seat, his cocky attitude gone. His friends looked embarrassed. One man checked his phone, muttering about being late. Lisa walked up to Lucas, who still stood tall by the booth. Up close, she saw his hands shake a little, the only sign of how much his stand had cost him. What's your name? She asked gently. Lucas Bennett, Oakwood Military School. Ma'am, thank you. Lucas, she said, her voice steady despite the lump in her throat. The words felt small compared to what he'd done, not just defending her, but giving back something she'd lost long ago in a moment of fire and pain. Mike appeared, looking at Gray Jacket and his quiet friends. Time to pay your bill, he said, setting the check down firmly. We're not done, Gray Jacket tried. Yes, you are, Mike said. Final. They left quickly, tossing down cash with a huge tip, guilt money. Lisa knew. The diner's mood shifted. The heavy quiet of shared shame was gone, replaced by something warmer. Talk started again, but it felt different, more real. Lucas sat back down with his mother, who watched him with worry and pride. Are you mad? He asked her softly. She shook her head. No, your dad would have done the same. Lisa went back to work, noticing how people looked at her now. Not at her scar, but at her, meeting her eyes, giving small smiles or nods. The scar was still there, but its power to define her in strangers' eyes felt weaker. As the lunch rush slowed, Lisa stood by the army veteran as he paid. That's a good kid, he said, glancing at Lucas. We need more like him. We do, Lisa agreed. You know, the veteran said. I led a team in Kuwait. Scariest thing wasn't the fighting. It was coming home to people who didn't get it. Lisa nodded, the shared understanding between soldiers saying more than words. But that boy, he added, he gets it. The next generation gets it. That's something. It was something, Lisa thought, something she hadn't known she needed to see. As the afternoon settled over Millie's diner, Lisa restocked napkins and filled salt shakers. Her hands moved on their own, but her mind held onto the day. Not the cruelty, but the moment a boy in a cadet's uniform stood up and spoke.